Good morning. Here we are back in the Aspen Grove. The Aspen, Woodland, Meadow. Meadow, Woodland, and it's the Aspen fluttering in the wind. Oh, right now it's very calm and they're not fluttering as much. But if we keep watching, we'll see them flutter. I would like to tell you a story that goes with the Aspen. And the story is thousands of years old. So I told you in our first visit how these are clones, how there's a mother tree and that the mother tree sends out roots and that along those roots the new trees will pop up. So our clump of aspen is basically one aspen that has been here for a long time. Now I don't know how or when our mother tree came, but there are other spots in the Willamette Valley where there are groves like this. Now there aren't very many groves. This is not a tree that really is common here. And if you see a grove, it's probably not going to spread out and into lots of other parts of the Willamette Valley, even though this one looks like it's spreading like crazy. But they're not one of the main trees of the Willamette Valley. They're more common on the other side of the mountains, on the other side of the Cascade Mountains, over in the east where it's a little drier and a little more open. They don't like being crowded by the Douglas fir and the other plants, the other big trees that are very common in the valley. So it's not real common to see these here, but there are a few clumps like this, a few stands of aspen. And the researchers from Oregon State University have been looking at them and looking at their genes. So as we know that one clone, one group of these trees is all one clone. They all have the same genes. And so they've been looking at them wondering, well, how did they get here? There aren't very many in the west side of the mountains. What are these guys doing here? Why are they look good, they look happy. How did they get here? Well, the theory is that thousands of years ago, when the ice ages were ending, there were big, humongous lakes that were on the other side of the Cascades, huge lakes that were being held back by ice dams and big areas of ice. And when the ice broke up, it let loose the big lakes and tons of water came flooding down the Columbia River and then down the Willamette River, and just humongous floods came. They're called the Missoula floods, and they happened over and over again as long ago as 15,000 years. It's probably been 15,000 years since that happened, since the ice ages. And what these scientists think, and they've been doing the gene study to see who are they related to? And they think that these groups of, not necessarily these, but the groups of aspen that they're seeing in the Willamette Valley may have come being carried along with those floodwaters. Those floodwaters were so strong, they were able to bring big, humongous boulders that came rumbling and tumbling down the valley. I mean, boulders so big that they're as big as a house. It's hard to imagine water that strong carrying big boulders. But they carried all kinds of things that were over on the other side of the mountains. And some of the things they might have carried were seeds or chunks of root or plants. And in fact, with these, all it would take would be if you had an aspen tree that got uprooted and carried into our valley, and then when the floods receded, it got left behind, that could sprout roots, dig down in, and start a whole new aspen clone. So that's the question that the researchers are studying. Do they have answers yet? Nope, but that's the great thing about science. We have awesome questions. Now ours, I don't know. Mother tree? Was it part of those clones that came back 15,000 years ago? Or did somebody plant it because, like me, they love aspen? I don't know. So we will be sharing a story because the Kalapuya Indians who lived here have stories. They were here at the time of the flood, and they have stories of what they did to survive the flood. Spoiler alert, they survived by going up Mary's Peak. All right, so the story of the aspen, of how they got here, is just another cool thing about these amazing plants. We'll listen for a second. All right, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again out here in the natural area.